of mine once told me about this quote, with great power comes great responsibility. It's a quote that my friend learned from his uncle. So do you know my friend? Do you have an idea who's my friend? Of course, you're all familiar with him. He is Spider-Man. Peter Parker. So bitten by a radioactive spider, he gained so many abilities and used his abilities to fight crime and keep his city safe. But aside from Peter Parker, there are so many incarnations of Spider-Man in the other branches of multiverse, or what they call as Spider-Verse. And there's no difference in my universe. And this is my story. I am MAE RESPONTE, and I am Spider-Woman. Anyway, how I became a Spider-Woman. Everything began 20 years ago in a place called Iligan City. Okay, our place is situated 30 kilometers away from the city proper, and I live there. So in order to reach our place, I need to pass by a bridge over the famous Maria Cristina Falls, a falls that generates 70% of Mindanao's electricity. So as you can see, the waterfall is surrounded by forest. And in this forested area, I began my fascination with spiders. And all of you, you might think that it is weird, but I love doing it. I love doing spider wrestling. Okay, so during my childhood, I remember I sneak out during at night and join a group of boys in our neighborhood, and we will hunt these spiders in our forest. And we usually use these matchbox to put all our captured spiders. And in order that this spider has its own room, we oftenly divide this container into different compartments so that they have its own room. Now, we let these spiders sleep for one night, and the next morning, they are now ready for spider wrestling. So two spiders will pit it against each other, and they will be placed on the opposite ends of a stick, and then until they will meet somewhere in the middle, and they will start fighting until one is either dead or incapacitated. So those were my first encounters with spiders, and I don't know why I'm not afraid of them. Maybe I was so exposed to the idea that they are not poisonous animals, and I also seen that my neighbors were friends with them, so I am confident enough that they will not harm me too. I initially thought at this time that these spiders are insects, but they are not, because insects have 6 legs and these spiders have 8 legs, and those invertebrates having 8 legs are called arachnids. Okay, so 15 years later, I again discovered my love for spider when I entered the State University here in Iligan City, where I started my graduate studies and also where I finished my undergraduate study. There I met this taxonomist. Let's call him this German Spider-Man. So he introduced to us, I had the chance to listen to his talk about progress and prospects in taxonomy. So when we say taxonomy, it's a science of the identification and describing of species. So he introduced to us his work on taxonomy of one family of spider, which is the Phocidae family. So he introduced to us how diverse it is and how it is properly named. And I've learned that this Phocidae family, out of 114 families, it's the 9th largest spider family with 79 genera and 1,458 species. And aside from that, I've learned that there are 3 Phocidae groups. We have leaf-dwelling, ground-dwelling, and house Phocids. So I'm so happy that there is house Phocids. So right after when I went home, I immediately looked for house Phocids in our home and check for possible house fossils. And luckily, I found this one species of house faucet, which is the Fulcus bicornutus. But at that time, I did not know yet the name of this species. I was just so happy that I captured one. Okay? And if we will talk about faucet spiders, we should remember that they have this one common feature. They have usually these thin, long, slender legs. That's why they are called as daddy long legs spiders. Okay? But despite the vast diversity of faucet spiders, only 13 species are known in the Philippines. So maybe there are still a lot of species that has not been described or uncollected. Now, to address this issue, the German Spider-Man and my advisor created a spider team that would explore the different faucet spiders here in the Philippines. So I was luckily one of the chosen students to be included in this research project. So that's me in the middle. Now, 4 of us were assigned here in Mindanao, and one was assigned in Visayas. So as part of the Mindanao Expedition, so I've chosen 3 sites. One of that is Davao del Sur, next is Compostela Valley, and Davao Oriental. So I started my research project in Davao del Sur, specifically in Epol Falls, Marilog District, Davao City. So I initially looked for possible leaf-dwelling faucets. So in these plants, so these are some of the host plants. So they usually spend the day tightly pressed on the underside of these large leaves. So the common names of these plants are taro, gabi-gabi, or gabi. So you might find leaf-dwelling faucets there. So the different leaf-dwelling faucets that I found there was Belisana apo. So Belisana apo was one of the currently known species of faucets here in the Philippines. So it is one of the 13 species that I have mentioned earlier. Now, these Belisana species, the Belisana spiders, are among the smallest faucet spiders. So usually they have this body length of 1 to 2 millimeters. Aside from Belisana apo, I found also Belisana SPV 169. So you might notice that it has no second name like the apo. So we use this abbreviation SP.P169 because at that time we were not sure if this spider is under the known species of the Belisana or it's a new species. So we use SP. Which means species, and the P169 as its code name to label this particular spider. Now in the field, we usually look for their patterns in the abdomen, but back in the lab, we usually focus on their pedipalps. So it's mistakenly named as antenna, but it has no. But remember that spiders have no antenna. Only insects have antenna. So these pedipalps are essential mating organ of the spiders. Okay, so another species that we found is Belisana SPV 129, and it's also a probable new species. Now, this is now the alive photo of a Belisana spider. So as you can see, it's very little, and it's very quick in the field. So you might not identify them quickly. So usually when I encounter Belisana in the field, I usually hold my breath so that I cannot lose them in my sight. Because very little. Imagine 1 to 2 millimeters yung body length niya. Now, another species that I found is Panyange SPV 125. It's a species under the genus Panyange. So it's different from Belisana. It has a broader abdomen, and it is larger than Belisana species. It's probably a new species because when we scored all their characters and compared that to the currently known species of Panyange, it's completely different. Okay, and next is Fulcus SPV 111. It's different from the Panyange because it has this bulge region on the ventral or in the belly side of the spider. So aside from leaf-dwelling phocedes, I found also different ground-dwelling phocedes. And one of that is the Spermophora sp. PST663. So I found this on leaf litters. And another one is Aitana SPV92. I found this in buttresses and in rock holes. Okay, and these Aitana spiders are among the diverse spiders, among the most diverse ground-dwelling phocedes. Okay. Now, after our Davao City research, we proceeded to the Compostela Valley and visited two falls, the Marangig and Tagbibinta falls. Now, in Marangig and Tagbibinta falls, we found these two species, probable new species of Bilisana, the PST1158 and the other one is PST745. Now, aside from Bilisana genus, we found another genus, which is Calapnita veriformis and Calapnita subfilicola. So these two species of Calapnita is the two currently known species of Calapnita in the Philippines. So far, I found 3 currently known species here in the Philippines, including the Bilisana apo. But aside from Calapnita veriformis and subfilicola, I found another one, which is the Calapnita SPV161. Okay, so this Calapnita species is different from the two other species that I have introduced to you. So this Calapnita SPV161, we verified this, that it is a new species, and this name of the Calapnita species is now Calapnita maragusan. So maragusan, it is named after the locality it was first found. Now, this Calapnita maragusan is now listed in the World Spider Catalog. So this World Spider Catalog is the list of all the spiders around the world. If you will search the Calapnita maragusan, you can find there that it's a new species and it is recently described in January 2017. Now, even if we found a new species there in Compostela Valley, we still proceed to our next sites in Davao Oriental. So the first site in Davao Oriental was in Mount Mayo. So that was in Tarragona. So this site is the most difficult sites among my sampling sites. So even if I had that peace sign there, actually I passed out before I took this picture because the trail was so difficult, and I am so disappointed at this time because I only found 4 species, and these 3 species were found in the previous sites. So I nearly gave up, and I nearly gave up and did not proceed to my next site, which is the Mount Hamiguitan, Davao Oriental. But thankfully, I did not give up and proceed there because there's a lot of species that we found there, and 2 of that is very different from the spiders that I have encountered. And for the first spider that I found, which is very different, is Panyange SPV695. So as you can see, it's the male Phi695. So the pedipalp of this Panyange is very long. As you can see, it's completely the same on the size of its abdomen. So, and another feature of this Panyange is that it has an eye stalks. So, I'm pretty sure that it's really a new species. So I immediately looked for the female counterpart of this Panyange, and I was surprised that the female Phi695, it has no visible palps, and the abdomen is broader than the male Phi695. So we verified this to an expert, to the German Spiderman, and later he confirmed this, that it's really a new species, and it was now named as Panyange Hamiguitan. It's the same with Calapnita maragusan. It is named after the locality it was found. Okay, so Panyanyangi Hamiguitan was published as a newly described species in 2015. So you can still also find this Panyangi Hamiguitan in the World Spider Catalog. Now, what I'm really thankful for that I did not give up in Mount Hamiguitan, it's because of this Calapnita SPP 367. Okay, so you might think why I am called Spider Woman. So maybe you think that I'm called a Spider Woman because I have no, I am not afraid with spiders, or I have this fascination with spiders, or this is my work, this is my life, or whatever the reasons you are thinking. But no, those were not the real reasons. The real reason why I am called Spider Woman, because of this Calapnita SPP 367. Because this species of Calapnita is named after the person who collected it. And it is now named as Calapnita May. Okay, so this Calapnita May, I initially thought, so what have you seen right now is a female May spider. So do we have the same complexion? Maybe, because it's reddish brown and I'm also brown and I'm wearing red, but we don't have the same limbs. So obviously it has 8 legs and I have 4 limbs. But anyway, I initially thought that it's not a new species of Calapnita because I thought that the coloration is only the difference of this Calapnita species. But back in the lab, when we examined this spider, examined all the characters and the pulps, we thought that it's a probably a new species, and we verified this again to the German Spider-Man. And he confirmed that it's really a new, and he named that after me, and now it is listed in the World Spider Catalog. And if you will search that one, you can find there that the Calapnita May was published in January 13, 2017. Okay, so if we will collate now our data with my spider friends, so we have contributed 5 newly described species of Calapnita, so including the Maragusan and the May spider. So aside from the 5 newly described Calapnita species, we found also another 5 species that belong to different genus, so including the Panyanga Hamiguitan that I have mentioned earlier. So all in all, I've contributed 3 species of spiders. So far, the new count of faucet species here in the Philippines is 23. So we added 10 species of spiders. So that's the effort of my spider team and to all the guides who help us in the sampling. Now, I have a question to ask you. What does a superhero look like? Like this? Or ta-dang, this? So ladies and gentlemen, you don't need a suit or a mask to become a superhero. Even if you wear like this, you can be a superhero. Even you look so dirty, you can be a superhero. So being a superhero, it needs to defend those who cannot defend themselves, like the spiders. So how can you defend the spiders if you don't know its name? So that's the taxonomies can help in, and that's how you can help in. So even for you students who, for those who are assigned in the field, so do not despise yourself if you are assigned in the field, because even if you look so dirty, you might find something new. And I tell you, it's this indescribable feeling that you add the spider, this list of organisms or species around the world. And it's good that you have this amazing contribution. So whatever you are working right now, so it might be a waste of time for you, but later it may be significant. Now, species are going extinct, and taxonomies are also declining. So how can you save the nature, the organisms that thrive in the nature, if you cannot know the name of that species. Okay, so um, uh, it's good that you must do something to address this issue. Okay, so remember, the conservation biologist cannot properly monitor species if without this taxonomic information. So they cannot implement conservation plans without the taxonomic conservation. So we need to identify our own species. And like superheroes, let's protect them. And I urge you to become the biggest leagues of scientists, the taxonomists, and together we will identify all the species that we can find here in the Philippines. As Spider-Man keep repeating, with great power comes great responsibility. Even we don't have that great power, I would like to remind you that we can acquire knowledge. And knowledge is more power. So I am MAE RESPONTE, and I am Spider-Woman.